Well, looks like we've got, we'll give it another minute. Okay, Rich, are you ready?
Indeed.
Hit it. Bienvenue tout le monde. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Merci de vous joindre à nous. That was my good friend Richard Mackenzie on synthesized instruments, playing our collaborative composition called Slapshot. He's joining us from his cottage in the Laurentians, north of Montreal. Take a bow, Richard.
I'll just tip my hat.
Very good. It's great to see you. How are you doing today?
Good. Weather is great up here. It's beautiful, except for the odd snowmobile blasting by. It's just wonderfully quiet.
And you didn't fall in the lake again, right?
Not, no, once is enough. Once per year.
Right. We wrote that piece for the national competition to replace the Hockey Night in Canada theme song. Richard, was that a world premiere we just heard?
Indeed it was, Jim, and I hope the audience is suitably honored.
Wow, that's exciting. And it's only 12 years since it was written. Say, do you remember what you said to me when I suggested opening the recital with this piece?
Well, it took me by surprise, Jim, to tell you the truth.
Well, why was that?
Well, usually in a concert, you don't start the concert off with the best song. You usually save it for the end.
Well, personally, I just hope we didn't scare away too many music lovers with it.
Well, surely not. I mean, Bach and Beethoven, they're no Klein and Mackenzie, of course, but they're pretty good. So I think the audience should be satisfied. But I fear I've said too much already.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks a lot, Richard.
Pleasure.
Before we start the songs, I'd like to acknowledge someone who's currently suffering from an illness that has no cure, and so I'm not sure if she's feeling well enough to be with us today. But she was the person who got me started studying with piano and encouraged me to get involved with singing, not to mention putting me through college. And I'm so grateful for all these things. So thank you, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you. And thanks to my sisters for being there for her. We're going to start today with some pieces by Johann Sebastian Bach. Quia fecit mihi magna from his Magnificat, and two movements from his cantata Christ lag in Todesbanden, Christ lay in the bonds of death. Of all the composers on today's program, perhaps Bach had the happiest combination of a harmonious family life and relative freedom from stress in his personal and professional life. And I think it shows in his music. I find that singing Bach always puts me in a good mood. It's just a joy and a pleasure to sing. quia fecit mihi magnam. Quia fecit mihi magnam, qui potens, qui potens est. Quia fecit mihi magna, qui potens est, et sanctum nomen eus, et sanctum nomen, et sanctum nomen eus, sanctum nomen eus, sanctum nomen eus, et sanctum nomen eus. Quia fecit mihi magna, qui potens est, et sanctum nomen eus. Hier ist das rechte Osterlamm, das rechte Osterlamm, davon Gott hat geboten, davon Gott hat geboten. Das ist hoch an des Kreuzes Stamm, hoch an des Kreuzes Stamm, in heißer Lieb gebraten, in heißer Lieb gebraten. Das Blut zeichnet, das Blut zeichnet unsere Tür. Das Blut zeichnet unsere Tür, das ist die Glaub dem Tode führt, das ist die Glaub dem Tode. Der Wege kann uns nicht mehr schaden. Halleluja, 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 Halleluja. Yeah, I'm sorry I got a message, that's why I missed my note, but it's a good message. I think there's a setting that's wrong on the microphone. Yes, in fact, the microphone was unplugged. So that was my crappy built-in mic. Forgot to write it on my list. Okay, thank you, stage manager. Hopefully this is going to sound better. Jesus Christus, Gottes Sohn, an unsere Stadt ist kommen. Und hat die Sünde weggetan, damit dem Tod genommen. All sein Recht und sein Gewalt, da bleibet nicht im Todesgestalt. Oh, you know, I'm really sorry, but the chat is killing me. I don't know how to get rid of it. Gestalt. Den Stachel hat verloren. Halleluja, 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 Halleluja. I don't mean to discourage you from using the chat. It's just that when I was practicing, I never had that. And so, seeing these messages pop up, I just wasn't prepared for it. But I'll try to ignore them. I want you to be able to use the chat. Well, we started off cheerfully enough, despite the technical glitches. But then we quickly got onto the theme of death, rather appropriate for these pandemic times. My voice teacher, Nat Watson, told me a quote from one of his teachers. All music is about love or death, or both. You'll see from today's program that that's not too far off. That is the cathartic power of music that lets us deal with subjects that could otherwise seem just too overwhelming. Bach was a devout Christian, and he was therefore able to take a rather optimistic view about death. Den Stachel hat verloren. Death has lost its sting. Our next composer, Alban Berg, was actually killed at the age of 50 by an insect sting that led to blood poisoning. I would really love to know what additional music he might have written had he lived longer, because I'm a huge fan of Berg's music. The following songs have no triumph over death, but they do speak of one of its benefits, namely the end of pain and anguish. Dem Schmerz sein Recht evokes the image of someone in his grave, hearing the faint echoes of life from above, but preferring to cling to death as an escape from the sufferings that he experienced in life. The second poem, Schließe mir die Augen beide, speaks more warmly of the transformation of suffering into peace through death. I'm going to sing two different settings of that poem, so two songs, the same text, and I'll discuss them a little bit more after you hear them. Wait. Schließe mir die Augen beide, mit den lieben Händen zu. Geht doch alles, was ich leide, unter deiner Hand zur Ruhe. Und wie leise sich der Schmerz Well um Welle schlafen leget, wie der letzte Schlag sich reget, fühlest du mein ganzes Herz, mein ganzes Herz. Schließe mir die Augen Freude mit den lieben Händen zu. Geht doch alles, was ich leide, unter deine Hand zur Ruhe. Und wie leise sich der Schmerz, Well und Welle schlafen leget, wie der letzte Schlag sich reget, fehlest du mein ganzes Herz. That first setting of Schließe mir die Augen beide was written when Berg was 20 years old, and it's rather conventional harmonically in a late romantic style. The second setting was written 25 years after the first, after Berg had started studying the technique of serial or 12-tone music with his composition teacher Arnold Schoenberg, who was the inventor of that system. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it makes use of what is called a tone row. It's some sequence of the 12 notes in the chromatic scale. Not in that order, that would be kind of boring, but in some order chosen by the composer and used by him or her in various permutations throughout the piece. Now, if you're not used to listening to this kind of music, your first reaction might be, wow, that sounds like a lot of random notes. But when you look into it more deeply, you realize that nothing could be further from the truth. And I'd like to share with you the score from this piece to show you what I'm... it's funny. I thought I had it open. I'm sure I had it open. Well, let's open it. Here it is. So I've annotated the piece a little bit, and I'm showing you here what the tone row is, and I'm going to play it for you and sing out the notes. So this is what the soloist is singing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those of you who read music may have noticed that I moved some notes down by an octave because this piece was written for soprano, and I took the liberty to move a few notes down to put it into my voice range. I hope Berg won't mind too much. Anyway, if you count the syllables in this poem, it's interesting. There's 60 of them. That's 5 times 12. So that's perfect for this system. You just need to repeat that tone row 5 times. And that's exactly what Berg does for the singer. If you look, he follows that same sequence throughout the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 times. But sometimes he lets the interval go up rather than down and vice versa. So that's why they don't all sound like the same exact sequence, even though it's the same series of pitches. Now, it's also interesting to look at what the piano's doing. And here's the piano part. And he starts, instead of at note 1, he starts at note 7 of the series. And then he continues in order. And then when we get to 4, 5, 6, they're combined together into a chord. And the same thing with 7 through 10. but basically it's in the same order, just starting in a different place. And you notice here, he's doing the order backwards. That's called retrograde. That's one of those permutations that's allowed in this system to give it more flexibility. And I'll just show you one more thing. When I was analyzing this piece, in the piano part here, I noticed that there's a note here that has to be a misprint in the score, because that's obviously 11 in the sequence, and 11 is always a B flat, whereas it was written a D flat here. So I was able to correct the score, and I'm sure that that's what it was supposed to be. So I'll stop my share now. And so I hope you see that this is really far from being random. And once you get that music into your head, any wrong note will sound just as wrong as if it were a blooper in a Bach fugue. I find Berg's realization exquisitely beautiful. I think he's a genius, the way he's been able to make music so expressive and even romantic sounding within this seemingly rigid mathematical system. The next piece, which is written by me, has some stylistic similarities to Berg. It's not 12-tone music, but it's living somewhere in the margins between tonality and atonality. Is it about love or death? Getting back to the theme of our program. Well, it's about the love of cats, and I think a lot of you out there are cat people like I am. And then you may understand that cats are not always just sweetness and light. And so this text by Charles Baudelaire, I think, captured very sensuously the darker side of Kitty, and this is the one I set for my piece.
Chant sur mon cœur amoureux, retiens les griffes de ta patte et laisse-moi plonger dans tes beaux yeux mêlés de métal et d'agate. Lorsque mes doigts caressent ta loisir, ta tête et ton dos élastique, et que ma main s'enivre du plaisir de palper ton corps électrique. Je vois ma femme en esprit, son regard comme le tien, aimable bête profond et froid, coupé fond comme un dard. Et des pieds jusques à la tête subtile, un dangereux parfum nage autour de son beau bras, de son corps, de son cobra.
Well, now we have reached a point in the program that reminds me of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in the Ode to Joy movement, when the soloist proclaims, "O Freunde, nicht diese Töne." Friends, enough of these troubling sounds. Let's have something more joyful. So that's what we're going to have mostly for the rest of the program. And we will get to Beethoven. But first I would like to sing two love songs by Johannes Brahms. The first, called Sonntag, that is Sunday, was nicely exposited to me by my teacher Nat, whom I will try to paraphrase. A young man is pining excitedly for his sweetheart, whom he has glimpsed on a Sunday, standing at her door or as she was on her way to church. He wishes he could be with her. Apparently, their love is a secret. Perhaps the parents don't know. Maybe they wouldn't approve. In any case, it must be a new love. Very exciting. Us older guys have to work a little harder to remember what that was like when we try to sing about it. That song will be followed by Saphische Ode, which refers to the ancient Greek poetess Sappho.
So hab ich doch die ganze Woche mein feines Liebchen nicht gesehen. Ich sah es an einem Sonntag wohl vor der Türe stehen. Das tausendschöne Jungfräulein, das tausendschöne Herzelein. Wollte Gott, ich wär heute bei ihr. Wollte Gott, ich wär heute bei ihr. So will mir doch die ganze Woche das Lachen nicht vergehen. Ich sah es an einem Sonntag wohl von die Kirche gehen. Das tausendschöne Jungfräulein, das tausendschöne Herzelein. Wollte Gott, ich wär heute bei ihr. Wollte Gott, ich wär heute bei ihr. Rosen brach ich nachts mir am dunklen Hage. Süße hauchten, wo sie es je am Tage. Doch verstreuten reich die bewegten Äste. Paul, der mich näste. Auch dir gieße du's nicht wie Nebelregte, die ich nachts vom Strauch deiner Lippen pflückte. Doch auch dir bewegt im Gemüt gleich taten die Tränen.
For all his ability to express romantic love in music, Brahms realized early on that he was not cut out for conventional long-term relationships, and he remained a lifelong bachelor after breaking off an engagement to be married. We'll see a similar example of that when we come to Beethoven. But first, let's hear a song that celebrates another ancient Greek poet, Anacreon, the song by Hugo Wolf, an Austrian composer who experienced great physical and mental hardship near the end of his life. In this first song, the poet Goethe imagines himself standing at Anacreon's grave, whose beauty recalls to him the spirit of Anacreon's poems. Perhaps we could say that it is about death being transcended by remembrance. And I'll follow that by Wolf's song Fußreise, a journey on foot, that exuberantly expresses the love of nature.
Wo die Rose hier blüht, wo Reben Lorbeer sie schlingen, wo das Totelchen lagt, wo sich das Grillchen ergötzt. Welch ein Grab ist hier, dass alle Götter mit Leben schön bepflanzt und gezielt. Es ist Anacreons Ruh. Frühling, Sonne und Herbstgenoss, der glückliche Dichter. Vor dem Winter hat ihn endlich der Hügel geschützt. Am frisch geschnittenen Wanderstab, wenn ich in dir frühe, so durch Wälder ziehe, Hügel auf und ab. Dann wie's Vöglein im Laube singet und sich rührt, oder wie die goldene Traube, wo der Geißer spürt in der ersten Morgensonne. So fühlt auch mein alte Liebe, Adamherz und Frühlingsfieber, Gott beherzte, nie verschätzte, Erstlingsparadieses Bahne. Also bist du nicht so schlimm, alter Adam, wie die strengen Lehrer sagen. Liebst und lobst du immer noch, singst und preisest immer noch, wie an ewig neuen Schöpfungstagen deinen Schöpfer uns erhalte. Möchtest diese geben und mein ganzes Leben wär im leichten Wanderschweiße eine solche Morgenreise.
To celebrate Beethoven's recent 250th birthday, I prepared 4 of his songs, which I was very happy to discover. We don't hear Beethoven's songs as frequently as I think they deserve to be heard. The first of these, My Lied, or May Song, starts out as though in praise of nature's beauties, but then we realize the rapture is a reflection of the speaker's love for a girl. The second, Ich liebe dich, or I love you, speaks of how our sorrows become a lighter burden when they are shared with someone we love.
Herrlich leuchtet mir die Natur, wie glänzt die Sonne, wie lacht die Flor. Es drängen Blüten aus jedem Zweig und 1000 Stimmen aus dem Gesträuch und Freud und Wonne aus jeder Brust. O Erd, o Sonne, o Glück, o Lust. So golden schön, wie Morgenwolken auf jenen Höhen. Du segnest herrlich das frische Feld, im Blütendampfe die volle Welt. O Mädchen, Mädchen, wie lieb ich dich, wie blickt dein Auge, wie liebst du mich. Gesang und Luft und Morgenblumen den Himmelsduft, wie ich dich liebe, mich warmem Blut, wie du mir Jugend und Freud und Mut zu neuen Liedern und Tänzen gibst. Sei ewig glücklich, wie du mich liebst, sei ewig glücklich, wie du mich liebst, sei ewig glücklich, wie du mich liebst.
You can unshare it, Richard. I'm going to say something else if you want. As I alluded before, Beethoven was like Brahms in never marrying. But unlike Brahms, I think he struggled longer with the issue. Brahms realized and accepted this aspect of himself when he was only 26. During his life, Beethoven had many infatuations, none of them reciprocated. But he had one great love when he was 42 years old, known as the Immortal Beloved, from how he addressed her in a famous letter he wrote. The identity of this mysterious woman was long debated, but now we know from the scholarship of his excellent biographer Maynard Solomon who she was. Her name was Antonie Brentano, and she was already married, in fact, to Beethoven's friend Franz Brentano, but evidently it was an unhappy marriage. The evidence shows that she was ready to leave France to be with Beethoven. And this was when Beethoven reluctantly came to the same realization as Brahms, that he was not able to commit to a conventional relationship, and likewise he called it off. The next song is about a failed love relationship, probably much like Beethoven's earlier experiences, but where it was the beloved who called it off, probably before it even really got started.
Dich, so wie du mich am Abend und am Morgen, noch war kein Tag vor du und ich nicht hatten unsere Sorgen. Auch waren sie für dich und mich geteilt Leid zu ertragen. Du tröstetest im Kummer mich, ich weint in deine Klagen, in deine Klagen. Drum Gottes Segen über dir, du meines Lebens Freunde. Gott schütze dich, erhab dich, mir Schutz und Erhaltung beide. Gott schütze dich, erhab dich, mir Schutz und erhalt uns beide. Erhalt uns beide. Erhalt uns beide.
The last of the 4 Beethoven songs is ostensibly about a flea and his siblings who achieve places of honor in the household of a king, to the chagrin of its legitimate members as they itch and scratch from getting bitten by fleas. But I think it's really about those people in your life who seem incompetent for their positions, and they use them to create all kinds of obstacles and annoyances for you. In my case, being an academic, certain administrators come to mind. Probably you have your own equivalent, which is what I think gives this song a universal appeal.
Der Hoffnung letzte Schwemme sinkt dahin, sie bracht die Schwere all mit flüchtigem Sinn. So schwinde mir zum Trost auch immer da, Bewusstsein, dass ich zu glücklich war. Was sprach ich nein von diesen meinen Ketten? Kann kein Entschluss, kann keine Macht mich retten. Ach, selbst am Rande der Verzweiflung bleibt ewig, süß mir die Erinnerung. Ach, holde Hoffnung, kehr zu mir zurück, reck all mein Feuer auf mit einem Blicke. Dir liebe Leiden seien noch so groß, verliebt, fühlt ganz unglücklich nie sein Los. Und du die Treue lieb mit Kränk und Lohne, fürcht nicht die Brust, in dir dein Bild noch wohnet. Die Kassen könnten nie dies fühlend Herz vergessen. Liegt es seinem Schmerz, liegt es seinem Schmerz. I don't know if it's the same for you, but these days we in academia are inundated by EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Well, this got me interested in underrepresented composers, and so I'd like to end my recital with 3 examples. The first is from the Black British composer Samuel Coleridge Taylor from around the turn of the last century, who was highly regarded during his musical career, but nevertheless, he died in sickness and poverty. His song, you'll see, obviously fits the category of being about both love and death. Second, I will have a song by Florence Price, who was an American Black composer from the early part of the 20th century, and she also achieved critical acclaim and recognition during her lifetime. She dedicated the Songs to the Dark Virgin, which is just one song, to her daughter, also named Florence. And that leads me to interpret this poem as being about the intense, consuming love of a parent for her child. Finally, we have a piece by Clara Wieck Schumann, who was the wife of composer Robert Schumann. She was a remarkably strong person in terms of her character and artistry. She was one of the first concert pianists to start performing from memory instead of reading from the score. And she became a single parent to their 7 children when Robert became institutionalized and he soon thereafter died. There's a famous story of her rescuing 3 of her children during an armed uprising. She had to cross hostile territory to rescue her kids from three children from Dresden and face armed thugs by herself. She was a very brave woman. Her song, I Bid You Good Night, is about platonic love, like the love she probably bore for Johannes Brahms. Oh, sorry, I skipped a piece.
Yes, you did. I was wondering about that.
What did I do?
I think you didn't do the 4th Beethoven.
I gave the introduction and then I didn't sing it? Wow.
No, I don't think you gave the introduction to the 4th.
No, I think I did give the introduction. It was about, about the people who annoy you.
Mm.
Okay, let's sing the Beethoven. I guess I'm losing my mind here.
Es war einmal ein König, der hat einen großen Floh, den liebt er gar nicht wenig, als wie seinen eigenen Sohn. Da rief er seinen Schneider, der Schneider kam heran, da miss den Junker Kleider und miss ihm Hosen an. In Samet und in Seide war er nun angetan, hatte Bänder auf den Kleider, hat auch ein Kreuz daran, und war war sogleich Minister und hat einen großen Stern. Da werden seine Geschwister bei Hof und großer Herrn. Frauen am Hofe, die waren sehr beplagt, die Königin und die Zofe, gestochen und gemacht, und durften sie nicht knicken, und weg sie jucken nicht. Wir knicken und ersticken, doch gleich wenn eine sticht. Wir knicken und ersticken, doch gleich wenn eine sticht. Ja, wir knicken und ersticken, doch gleich wenn eine sticht. Ja, wir knicken und ersticken, doch gleich wenn eine sticht. Wenn eine sticht.
Sorry about that. My brain kind of shuts down when I get overheated. It's getting kind of warm in this room. So now pretend I just said all those things about the end of the program, and we're going to have Samuel Coleridge Taylor's song.
For thee, cry for thee, sigh for thee, under my breath, to clasp at a shed where thy heart hath been laid. It is death, it is death, it is death. Too long for thee, yearn for thee, burn for thee, sorrow and strife, but to have thee, and hold thee and fold thee, it is life, it is life, it is life. Would that I were a jewel, a shattered jewel, that all my shining brilliance might fall at thy feet, thou dark one. Would that I were a garment, a shimmering silken garment, that all my folds might wrap about thy body, absorb thy body, hold and hide thy body, thou dark that I were a flame, but one sharp leaping flame to annihilate thy body. Die gute Nacht, die ich dir sage, Freund, hörst du? Ein Engel, dir die Botschaft trage, geht auf uns zu. Ihr bringt sie dir und hat mir wieder den Gruß gebracht. Dir sagen auch des Freundes Lieder, jetzt gute Nacht.
Well, that's all, folks. Thank you, Rich, for being co-host. Thank you, Nat Watson, for guiding me through this repertoire. Thank you, Philippe Bourque, for your encouragement and technical advice. And thank you, most of all, to all of you for being here. It really means a lot to me. And I hope to see you pretty soon at the little get-together we're having. I think Isabel was going to, she's putting it in the chat in case you might have misplaced that. So grab a drink. Okay, I'm going to stop the meeting. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.